Good morning children, we are back. Now remember last time we did digestive system where we had discussed the roles of the various parts of the alimentary canal, starting from mouth, esophagus, then comes the stomach, and before after the stomach then it is the small intestine, the various roles of liver and pancreas, what are the juices that are poured in. We had all discussed this. Please do watch my previous video once again in case if you want to revise. And after that we are going to learn that from the small intestine, when it goes to the large intestine, what happens, right? Now for this small intestine, if you remember, there were three parts, right? Which were the three parts? The duodenum, the jejunum and the ileum, right? And in this ileum, you know what happens? Now suppose this is a wall of the ileum, right? This is a pipe and this is a wall of the ileum. And remember children, ileum is the longest part, okay? I think it's about 7 meters in length. So it's a real big one that is all coiled inside your body. Now here, if the wall is like this, instead what is happening? The wall gives this finger-like projection, okay? These are the finger-like projection. Now can you tell me why it is so? That the wall is made into a finger-like projection. Now this is because, now remember what is the role of the ileum? The role of the ileum is to absorb, okay? The role of the ileum is to absorb the nutrients from the food. Now the food now is in a very liquid form, which is, we know, is called the chyme. Now the food is already it is already broken down into a chyme, right? Sorry, it is already broken down into nutrients. Then in the simplest form, like the fat is already converted to glucose, protein is already converted to amino acids, right? And the fat is already converted to fatty acid and glycerol. And all this has happened in a sequence of steps, right? With the help of the gastric juices and enzymes that has worked continuously on it, correct? So this is the last part of the small intestine, that is the ileum, through which the food in the form of chyme, consisting chiefly of nutrients in the simplest form, is passing. Okay? And while it is passing, what are this finger-like projections doing? Now if I draw it one big one, this is consisting of a single layer of cell, okay? And this finger-like projection is called a villi and the singular is villus, okay? Now here they are filled with lot of blood capillaries. It's a single wall cell, very thin wall, okay? And lot of blood capillaries are there. So what is it continuously doing? It is absorbing the nutrients from the chyme. See, it is absorbing the nutrients from the chyme and it is passing into the bloodstream, which is in the capillaries. Okay, so absorption is the chief function of the ileum. But what is being absorbed here? Nutrients, you know, like glucose, what we had discussed, amino acids, but not water. Here water is not being absorbed. Here chiefly the other nutrients are being absorbed. Correct? Now what is left behind is pushed into the large intestine. Now this large intestine, again it has 3 parts. Okay. Now what are the 3 parts? Just a minute. This is called the rectum, the last part. This is called the colon. Okay, this is also the colon, and here where the ileum is getting connected, it is called the cecum. Alright, So this is called the cecum. Now what is it chiefly doing? It is consisting of the undigested part of the food. Sometimes if you are having lot of roughage, like what you say, like fibrous food, if you are having like for example cabbage, guava, it is lot of roughage. Okay, it helps to keep our bowels clean. Yes. Now, so all the undigested food along with the roughage, yes, whatever is remaining of that food, now it is like a waste. So it will now pass into this cecum. And what else is passing? Also lot of water. Right. So all this will now go and it will be stored here in the rectum, and then finally it is passing out as a semi-solid substance. Remember, this was actually in a liquid form, the food. Now from the liquid part, all the water is absorbed in the large intestine, and what comes out as your potty is the semi-solid part that is coming out through the anus. Right? It is temporarily stored in the rectum and it is coming out through the anus. Alright, so that is the alimentary system, how it works. Now sometimes children, suppose instead of having one gulab jamun, I eat 4 gulab jamuns because I love gulab jamuns. So my body now does not need that much of sugar, right? Because I am not going for a marathon. So what will it do? So it first converts it into glucose. In the digestion part, it is changed into the simplest form, glucose, right? But the excess glucose is now again stored in the liver in the form of glycogen. Okay, so that I can use it tomorrow or day after. So for future use, correct? Now excess of fat. Suppose I had a party with my friends and I ate a lot of though I do not really practice that, I ate a lot of pizza. So it's a very fatty food, right? So I don't need that much of fat, because fat also gives me energy to small amount, though that is not a very good healthy habit, but still there are certain food like ghee, nuts, from where we also derive fats, right? And that is a good fat, but sometimes that fat is not required. So what will happen? Now it is already digested, coming to the simplest form, fatty acid and glycerol. But now again it is stored in the form of fat. Okay. So how? So it is called reconversion. So excess of these fatty acid is again reconverted into fat and stored for future use. Suppose I am getting lost in the desert. So for the next 3 days, how will I survive? It is from my fat that the energy will be produced to my body when I am fasting, when I am not eating anything at all. And remember, the fat is usually stored, just below our skin. It also gives us warmth, right? So what we learned, that glucose, excess of glucose is reconverted into glycogen and it is stored in the liver. Fat is again stored sometimes when it is in excess under the skin. And what about protein? Suppose I don't need that much of protein, okay? Because a young child may need a lot of protein for its growth and repair. But a woman who is 45 years old, may not need that much of protein. So what will it happen? The excess of protein is again converted to urea. And urea is a waste, right? Is a metabolic waste. So it has to be thrown out of my body because it may cause harm to my body. So that is thrown out of my body through kidney in the form of urine. All right. So the first part, what we learned, the different types of the steps of digestion, you can say, is first is egestion, eating of food, chewing of food, ingestion, it is ingestion, that is chewing of food, and then after ingestion is the digestion process that is going on, simplification of food. After that is absorption of food in the lower intestine and to some extent in the larger intestine. Assimilation of food. What is assimilation? Assimilation is usage of these absorbed nutrients, okay, by my body. How I explained, I use it in the form of energy, I use it for growth and repair, I use it, for warmth, that is the fat, and if it is in excess, I again reconvert and store it in my body for future use. And finally, it is egestion, that is throwing off of the waste product. Alright, I hope it is clear. Thank you.